Hello there. So I am Laura Double. I'm a parental return to work coach, and I'm here today with Danni Buxton, who is the HR Director at Cherry. And Danni and I first started working together when Danni was actually on her own maternity leave. And then during that process, she took the initiative to roll out the service within her organisation. First of all, supporting mums and now also supporting dads as well. So we want to talk today a bit about Danni's own experience and a bit about her experience as HR director within this sort of organisation and talking to her experience of using coaching as a service at that time and also the benefits to the organisation. But should we just start off quickly, Danni, with just a quick introduction from you to say hello and let people know who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi. So I'm Danni, HR Director at Cherry. I've worked here for 7+ years now. And as Laura said, I had my first child last February 2024. So it's been a really interesting experience, both from a personal standpoint, as well as looking at the impact that coaching has had on the organisation. So I'm really excited to be here and I'm really happy to be talking about this. It's something that I'm very passionate about. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's always come out in the conversations that we've had, hasn't it, as well? I guess if we just roll back then to when we first started working together, what was it that prompted you to get in touch? What was sort of happening for you at that time?
It's a really good question. I think I was quite naive to what it would be like to be a parent and what the experience of maternity leave would be for me. To that end, you know, hindsight is 2020. It's not something that I'd necessarily given thought to within the organisation about this sort of need for coaching of parents as they go through this transition, having not been through it, and then being in it and the experiences that I had around anxiety of going back to work and the stress of not being at work and that lack of control, but also I've got this new baby now, and I would say that I'm quite strong as an individual, quite blunt, and will say things as it is. And so I thought, wow, if I'm experiencing these feelings now of insecurity, anxiety, I can't be the only one. And I need to do something about this, not only for me, but supporting parents in the workplace as well. So, wish I'd understood more about what it was like to be a parent before becoming one myself. But here we are, and really pleased as an organisation. It's something that we've grasped with both hands, and as Laura mentioned, something that we not only offer to working mums but dads too, and not just people who are leaving the workplace or coming back after a period of time, looking at actually how do we support parents who maybe have a child slightly older but are going through a phase that they need support with. So that's kind of how it came about, was really just my own experience and the overwhelm that came with it, and thinking we just need to do something here.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I just relate to so much of what you've just said. And that's kind of how I came to do what I do now as well, was that part of my role, I worked in HR before, and part of what I was doing was managing other people's return to work. And then I had my daughter. And then, like exactly as you're saying, I had no idea.
No idea.
Yeah.
Just the considerations that I hadn't even considered. Like, wow, how are we going to do this? And so, yeah, it's been a real insight for me, becoming a parent first and foremost, and then knowing all my friends and colleagues that are parents. I just look at them completely differently now, going, wow, how do you do this, and how have you done it for so long? Yeah, it's amazing. But yeah, it's been really great to have brought this into Cherry.
Yeah. That's one of the things I've really loved about working with you as well, is that I think having lived through something yourself and being in the position that you're in, you have the agency, you have the ability
Yeah.
to then roll that out and allow other people
Yeah.
to benefit in the same way as well. So yeah, I think that's really, it's been, from my point of view, that's been a part of our conversations, hasn't it, as well? So it's been just such a joy to work with you. What would you say then, in terms of the coaching, what would you say have been the biggest benefits for you personally? And then we'll move on to the organisation.
Absolutely. So I think for me, it was really important to have the space to work through what I was feeling and experiencing at the time, and just having somebody who doesn't know me and has no preconceptions of who I am or the experiences that I've had, to just have the space to be really quite vulnerable. I think certainly in my role as HR director here, my role is to be that person for everybody else and to create that space for others. And so what coaching allowed for me was to have that experience too, that I was able to really work through my feelings, but also have somebody who made sure I was accountable for what I was saying I was going to do. I think certainly whilst I was still on maternity leave, kind of ramping up to go back, it was really helpful to work through those feelings of anxiety. Is it going to be the same place? Can I do this? The mum guilt, wow, and everything that comes with that. And then once I was back at work, that accountability of, you said you were going to have that conversation, how did that go? And making sure that I did deliver on those things. And I think often when you are embarking on something new, so like going back to work, you've got these good intentions, and it's very easy to just get swept up in the day to day. And before you know it, it's 6 months later, and oh, I said I was going to do that and I didn't. And what coaching really allowed me to do was be accountable for what I said I was going to do. So there was a lot of change for me as an individual over quite a short period of time in terms of returning and then having returned.
Yeah. I was just having a little smile to myself when you said that, because in reality, what happened in our coaching conversations is we'd finish a conversation and an hour later I'd get an email saying, I've had the conversation. It's like, all right.
Yeah. It's going to get it done. I'm not going to do it. And I've said I'm going to do it now. So I've done it. It's really important I had that, right? Because I think I would have just kind of drifted back in, and I was coming back to a slightly different organisation, different leadership, different manager. So also saw that as an opportunity to kind of really carve out, well, what does this mean for me now?
Yeah, it was like a real fresh start, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
So from a personal perspective, it was really important for me to have this.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing so openly as well. And then thinking about the organisation, how did it move then into offering it out to others?
Yeah.
How did that go? Like, how was it received at Cherry?
Really well. So I think as soon as it was something that I raised as needing support with, it quickly became something that we just offered to all parents who were going on parental leave. It was never a conversation that needed any debate. It was so well received at the senior leadership level, which made it really helpful actually. And I think being able to talk to my own experience helped, and having gone through it and being able to really articulate, actually, we have no idea what the individual circumstances are, thoughts, feelings, how are we re-onboarding people after a time off, how are they being supported. And it was so well received, which I was really pleased about. Like I said, it just wasn't something that I was having to pitch. It was just that we need to do this. And the support was there 100%. Great, let's do this. And so it's offered now within Cherry and some of our sister brands as well, because we're part of a global network. So it's been great.
So good. So good, obviously, for me to hear. And how has that gone? So in terms of then offering it to employees, how did you find, you're talking there about the senior leadership team, and how has it been received in terms of culturally, if you see what I mean? So like I know that coaching isn't the answer. It's not the only answer.
Mm,
Do you see what I mean?
yeah.
So like, how are you positioning it within Cherry? What else is happening within Cherry to?
It's a really good question. So we elected to begin publishing our gender pay gap information about 2 years ago. It's not something that we are mandated to do. We're not a big enough organisation, but we recognise there's a need to do this and have transparency around that, which has fed into conversations around women in the workplace, women in leadership, how are we supporting where we can to reduce that and to support working parents. And so it's been part of our working group. We have a gender equity group that focuses on removing barriers for women in the organisation. We're a business of over 70% female staff. And so it's important for us that we recognise that female staff will may leave the organisation, go on maternity leave, but that shouldn't hold them back from their career. So how do we then support them during their time on maternity leave? And then how do we support them to re-embed, not at speed, but at a pace that works for them? And so the coaching was just a very natural part of that conversation of, if people are leaving the workplace, how are we re-onboarding? And it's then something, as you mentioned, that we offer to our working dads too. We recently increased our paternity pay to try and help also bridge that. We are not going to sit here and discuss all the societal issues, but these are the things that we are doing as we recognise that we need to be supporting women and reducing that gender pay gap. So it's been part of wider discussions, and this is just something that we do now. It's not something that we talk about. We've recently had 2 members of staff go on paternity leave. The service is offered to them as it would be our female staff. It's just part of the process. So it's just, yeah, the expectation is there now. This is just what we do.
Oh, honestly, that is like, I'm just reflecting on when we first spoke, and that's just really reminded me of one of our conversations of like, oh, I wonder if it could just be just what we do now. And then to know that that is the reality, that's huge, isn't it? To see that you're the driving force in making that change happen. I think that's amazing.
It's been really great. And it is. It's not even something that we actively think about. It's just, this is part of our support for working parents. And as I mentioned, it's not just something that we do when someone's about to exit for parental leave. It's something that is available for staff should they feel that they need some additional support as a working parent.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that as well. I've started working with people from another organisation who their children are starting school, and it's just another transition. And it's when our children change, we change. So it's not a once and done thing. And I also love what you said there about it being offered, because that's a huge part of what I believe in that it's not obligatory. It's not like, here's some coaching to fix what's happening. It's like, here's some support if you want it, if you need it. So so if you're thinking about other organisations who were considering ways to support their new working parents or their parents going through a transition later down the line, would you recommend this kind of support to them? What would you be saying to them?
Do it. Just do it. I think the juggle is real. As a working parent, there is guilt everywhere you look. I'm not a good enough parent. I'm not good enough at work. And I think what coaching has allowed me to do, and our working parents, is to work through their experiences so that they can bring their best selves to being a parent, and they can also bring their best selves to the workplace. And I think demonstrating that investment in your staff and support goes so far beyond just the actual coaching, to have that investment in, the talent in your organisation. It's really important. And as I said, I'm a recent parent. It's not something that I had thought about before, which we've discussed the disappointment there around that, but we're doing something about it now. So if you have working parents, people going on parental leave, ask them what support they need. I think the first thing to do is say, how can we help you as a business? And coaching is a really, really fantastic thing to be able to offer your staff.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time today and for sharing your experience as well. And it's been really good
No, I
to
really
catch up with
appreciate
you.
it. As I said, I won't be as dramatic as to say, would I be here now if it hadn't been for the coaching? But I think it was certainly the transitions are challenging, even for the most robust of individual, and humbling and all the emotions. And so I'm really pleased that you and I met and that you were able to support me, and that through that we've been able to support my organisation. So it's a pleasure, it continues to be so. And if anyone is still watching this, yes to parental coaching.
Thank you so much, Danny.
Thank you.